As you're aware, instead of we have initiated a common EAC machine readable ID as the basis for movement of citizens from countries that have complied. So all countries which have a machine readable ID can move around into and out of our country easily. And right now within EAC, Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda have already implemented the free movement within the 3 partner states using national identity cards. Number 2, we are developing the enabling infrastructure to support regional integration, which includes the construction of one-stop border posts to process people and goods at the ports of entry or ports of exit. Thirdly, we have introduced, strategy number 3 is we have introduced the East African Tourist Visa, which is one common visa which can be used by a tourist who enters our country to be able also to access at least 2 other countries, Rwanda and Uganda, on the same entry visa. And we are hoping that this could be extended to all the other member states of the EAC. The East African passport has also been implemented by all partner states. As you are aware, our passport now is an East African passport, and it's the same for all other citizens. We use the same travel document, the East African passport, and it's an e-passport, which is consistent with the global requirements of the standards of passports. As I have said, Chair, we have been operationalizing one-stop border points, and we have 13 of such posts along the Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania borders. There are 13 of them, and along the Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda borders, there are 6 of these stop border posts, which are juxtaposed, meaning they are on both sides of the border. And these are Lungalunga, Orohoro, we have Taveta, Holili, we have Namanga, we have Isebania, Sirare, Busia, and Malaba. These ones are operational within the EAC, 6 of them. They are open 24 hours to process people, and our experience so far is that they have really made it much easier for people to move within EAC. And I think this is the way to go in terms of managing the free movement of people, not only in the EAC, but also within the other regional economic bodies like COMESA and the rest. The other thing I wanted to say is that the EAC, COMESA, and IGAD all have a free movement protocol, which is aimed at making the free movement of people and goods much easier in the years ahead, and this will bring growth. This will bring trade among ourselves, and I think all this built into the vision of the African Free Trade Continent, Free Trade Area, the African Continental Free Trade Area framework, which Kenya has been championing. And I think we were among the first countries to ratify the African Continental Free Trade Area. And I think these regional economic arrangements will be the best build-up to the achievement of the vision of an African Continental Free Trade Area. And as you're aware, EAC is among the regional economic bodies, is actually one of the most stable and most advanced forms of integration, including making huge strides in this area of free movement of people and goods within the community. The second issue, Honorable Chair, out of the three, is the issue of how we are managing the Northern Corridor Transit arrangement to ensure that, again, we do not obstruct the trade through non-tariff barriers, especially through roadblocks. We have established the Northern Corridor Transit Patrol Unit, NCTPU. And the purpose of this National Northern Corridor Transit Patrol Unit, which is established by the Traffic Department of the Kenya Police Service, is to ensure that the motor vehicles that are ferrying goods within, through our country, but within the East African community space, that these vehicles first are secure along the routes within our country, from Mombasa to Malaba, from Isebania, Busia border, and the like. What this unit does is to carry out patrols along the highways to ensure seamless flow of traffic along the northern corridor, to ensure the goods that are being ferried are secure, and to ensure that, and also to assist transit vehicle drivers if they are in need, in case of a breakdown, to ensure the goods are not stolen. And this unit also guards against offenses such as fuel siphoning, which has been rampant in the past from transit vehicles, and the instructions that the police officers who are deployed by the Kenya Police Service Traffic Department along the northern corridor is to ensure that in the absence of a cognizable offense, police officers have been directed that in the absence of a cognizable offense, not to stop transit vehicles, because that would cause delays and that would affect the free movement of goods and will impact negatively on trade. As a policy, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, we have eliminated, the government has eliminated roadblocks across the country, and they are only erected on a needs basis. And before a roadblock is set up, permission has to be sought from the traffic headquarters in Nairobi, from police headquarters. The purpose of that roadblock must be defined, and as soon as that intended purpose, which is normally a security purpose, as soon as that intended purpose is achieved, the roadblock is dismantled. We are eventually going to get rid of all roadblocks of whatever nature by 1st of November. Last month, or actually early this month, the President directed that within 90 days, we must remove all roadblocks and replace them with patrols and other ways of achieving the security intentions that roadblocks do play. And this directive of the President will be implemented. We'll make sure that by 1st of November, we do not have any more roadblocks on our highways across the country. It's an old way of traffic management, and we must move with the world to make sure that we can achieve the same objectives without disrupting traffic, because when you have those metals across the road, it's not even a good picture. They don't look good. And we are working to achieve the presidential directive, as I have said, by 1st of November this year. The last issue is on the refugees. As you're aware, Chair, this country has hosted refugees for 35 plus years. And these refugees have been in this country for this long. And I think Kenya is one of the countries in the world that has received an inordinately or a disproportionate share of the burden of carrying refugees world over. It has quite a big load, and not just the numbers, but also the length of time in which they have been in this country. The breakdown of where those refugees come from is provided on page 5 of my statement. But basically there are two major caseloads. Somalia, since 1990, the breakdown of that country caused an influx of people. They continue coming. And then of course South Sudan, because of the war there. The biggest numbers are from those countries, but we have also refugees from other countries as provided for in the table on page 5. Many of them are in the camps, and we have two major camps, the one in Dadaab and the one in Kakuma, and I've provided the number of refugees in each of those areas. Recently there have been an upsurge, and we are expanding the camps in Garissa, in Dadaab, because we've realized that we have a big load of people who have come, fresh asylum seekers, and over 100,000 of them are being processed. We have processed nearly the same number, so we are going to witness an upsurge of this refugee issue, especially on the Dadaab side. We have struggled with the long-term solution for this refugee issue. It's not an entirely a Kenyan issue, it's an international issue. And therefore we remain alive to the obligations that the country has under the 1951 UN Convention on the Status of Refugees and the protocol to that convention, as well as the 1969 OAU Convention, now African Union Convention, relating to specific aspects of refugee problems in Africa. And basically we've been very faithful, and we've been very faithful not only to the international instruments that are applicable, but also to our own obligations under our constitution and the laws of our country. And in this regard, in 2021, the government processed a new legislation, the Refugees Act of 2021. That act envisages a policy shift of how we manage refugees in this country. And it is aimed at doing two broad things, Chair. One is to broaden the rights and the benefits that refugees can accrue, including socio-economic rights. But the way the Act is wired is to ensure that even as refugees access socio-economic benefits, the same rights must be merged with the host communities, so that you don't create a discrepancy where the same challenges the refugees are going through exist in the host communities, yet the host communities is not being attended to. So for example, when we supply relief food in the refugee camp, we make sure that the same relief food is available to the host communities. So we have a new law. One major policy aim of that law is to expand the benefit scope for refugees. And secondly, the law looks at providing the durable solutions including local integration where possible, resettlement, of course, which traditionally is a durable solution, and repatriation in appropriate cases. But going by the experience we've had for the last 35 years, it appears that we might have to move towards local integration of a substantial number of the refugees, especially those that have been in this country for nearly 4 decades now. So, what are we doing? At the moment, we are processing the regulations under the Act, and I know the PS for the State Department for Refugee Affairs, together with the Commissioner, is here. They have already approached this committee, I think, for pre-publication engagement, so that we agree on the regulations that will operationalize the Refugees Act of 2021. We have also developed what we are calling the Shirika Plan, some form of Marshall Plan on durable solutions for refugees. And this plan has received some support, even internationally, from the World Bank and other development partners. The aim is to improve the existing camps, especially the Dadaab cluster of camps and the Kakuma cluster of camps, turn them into municipalities in partnership with the respective county governments, and provide basic amenities that will make refugees live in more hospitable conditions. That is a program which is being supported, as I have said, by many development partners and also by the World Bank, particularly through the Kenya Urban Support Program Phase 2. However, we are in the process of processing the relevant cabinet approvals, and that's why we have put on hold any further discussions around operationalization of the Shirika Plan or the Marshall Plan until a cabinet approves. And we hope in the next 30 days or so we'll have gotten the necessary approvals of cabinet so that we can move our refugee management into the next level, which is towards integrated settlements, more hospitable settlements, and that development will also come with benefits from local host communities, so that again you don't create discrepancies and asymmetry between the standards of living for refugees vis-a-vis the host communities. I submit.
Thank you, Monas. Yes, for
on the questions we've raised to you. Mine is just to open the floor for members of parliament to interrogate, follow-up questions, suggestions, and comment. Before that, I will give chance
used for speed, so that for surveillance and the likes, can the ministry put the synergies together so that we can have and it is not directed on need basis. Then when you are going to answer Nakuru, there is a roadblock. You know, I was even wondering what
that this team. In fact, after you have our people are eagerly.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, members, for the very, very pertinent questions and clarifications that you have sought. I'll try and respond to all of them as briefly as I can, without omitting any necessary. Every car, even a VIP car, must stop, because that roadblock is gazetted and is one of the roadblocks that are helping in our fight against terror. If you are coming from Upper Eastern, you realize there's a roadblock at a place called Archer's Post. That one is not just a traffic roadblock. if you're coming from Tana River, Upper Coast, down to Malindi, roadblock as you enter Malindi towards Mombasa. So we have a number of roadblocks that even with the removal of the ordinary traffic management roadblocks, we must still maintain them because of the fight against terror. Otherwise, I do not want to dispute that we have others that are not serving that purpose, and we have given directive, we have cascaded the presidential directive to the National Police Service that from 1st of November, we do not want to see roadblocks except the ones that we gazette for the purpose which I have said, and there are few. And there are few. I will not again go beyond that, but I just wanted members to know that some of the roadblocks have a very critical purpose, and they have helped us to achieve a lot. Many of the things we don't even announce, we have been able to intercept and thwart serious incidents of threats as late as 3 months ago, and those roadblocks are officers who are manning those roadblocks so that they remain strict but very courteous. Yeah, they are very courteously, they ask you questions courteously, and they allow you to proceed without being rude or crude. That is the area we are working on to improve on the software, and I think some of the roadblocks, the reports we've been getting even from elected leaders are very positive, that the officers are fairly courteous, especially for the specific roadblocks that I've mentioned. The second issue, Chair, was on the Marsabit issue. The whole country includes Marsabit, so we will treat everybody the same in this policy shift. Then the other issue was the cameras. I think Honorable Gitari is the one who raised the issue of cameras. It is true the National Transport Safety Authority is in the process in the Ministry of Transport of procuring cameras. Now those cameras are for enforcement of the speed limits, but as you're aware, the enforcement aspect of even speed limit is a police function. So it's a concurrent function, and we are working together. So it's just that the procuring entity is the NTSA, but the cameras will serve all purposes, including security purposes, so that we don't have a replication of effort. But before the cameras are procured and installed across Kenya, we have immediate ways of traffic management when we eliminate the roadblock.